Welcome into the Fan Addict Sports Channel for sports fans by sports fans. It's your boy Coach I. Where my dogs at? All right, man. It is Rivalry Week. We are talking today about Texas A&M and LSU. And I got a friend in here with me. This is a Texas A&M fan. He is going to talk about the Texas A&M side and how they view this rivalry and what he thinks is going to happen. We got Liam with Sideline Sports Network, Texas A&M account from Twitter. They're a big network of sports teams and sports teams pages. And you get a chance on Twitter, make sure you check him out. It's at SSN_TAMU, all capital letters. You can see it under his name. What's going on, Liam?
How's it going, man?
Hey, man, we in here. It's Rivalry Week, man. It's the last week. Can you believe it's the last week of the season already?
I actually cannot. It's crazy. It feels like it should be like week 6, maybe.
Man, I'm telling you, it's like you wait so long. You do the signing, both signing days, and then you do the spring games, and then you wait all summer, and then it's like, okay, we've been waiting all this time, and then in the blink of an eye, it's gone.
That's how it goes every year. I'm like, there's no way that we could be at the end of the season already.
Exactly. First, I want to start off, man. I want you to tell them a little bit about how you became a Texas A&M fan, and then talk a little bit about your Sideline Sports account.
Alrighty, so this is tough. So my family have been diehard Notre Dame fans my entire life.
Whoa!
So when I had to come out and tell them that I would cheer for Texas A&M over Notre Dame, I think it was the maddest my family has ever been at me. I'm serious when I say it.
Oh, that's Notre Dame listen, they got a serious following, so I can understand that.
They definitely do. It definitely makes it hard here. We have like rooms in our house that are painted after them. Like, just the clothing that we have in this house is just crazy. Like, just themed rooms and stuff. It's definitely been difficult to say the least. So I first became a Texas A&M fan. Really seriously about 6 years ago now. Okay. I just like SEC football. Like, it's just different to me. It's higher paced. They're obviously what I think is the best conference, really unmatched to me. And I remember watching this video, and it was TAMU_highlights on YouTube. And I will never forget watching this video for the first time. And it was called The Return of the Wrecking Crew. And this video was like the hardest hits in the last 5 years. And just the physicality of Texas A&M in those 5 years was just insane. And it was also happened to be during the Johnny Manziel era. Yep. Johnny Manziel, my favorite athletes of all time. I actually met him this summer at a golf range by my house. So that was pretty cool.
Okay.
So, yeah, Cog Hill in Lamont, Illinois. I met him there. Just Texas A&M, I fell in love with it. Like, buying clothes and stuff. I got 2 Johnny Manziel game-used footballs. And it's just hard to just let it all go. Like, I don't know, just every year, like, I believe in them. Like, I love them. Like, I just follow it so much. I don't know. Like, I love football in general, but I eat, sleep, and breathe A&M.
I'm telling you, man, and you're right about the SEC. And I don't think the ACC has some of the traditions too, and the Big 12 some, but people just don't understand it. Even recruits now, like a lot of recruits from the West are coming to the SEC, and it's like, like even with Georgia, JT Daniels said the first time he was at a game at Georgia, it was just different. He's like, he didn't even know people took football that serious.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, just time in and time out. You see these kids coming like super far. Like, I know Antonio Johnson on Texas A&M. He's from Illinois, from East St. Louis. So that was huge once we started to break out of Texas A&M, and now like it's just more common and people want to come to these SEC schools, like bigger games. Like, people are showing up. They're just good. Like, you got like average teams in the SEC that like are able to steamroll like top teams in like other conferences, which is really just says a lot.
It does. It does. It says a lot about the athletes that they recruit and the athletes that they put into the NFL. That's I try to tell a lot of people that's not SEC fans. I'm like, it's not that every SEC team is good and wins a lot. It's that the teams have athletes. Like they have athletes up and down the roster. Like even Kentucky, like they sometimes they're second in the East. Most of the time they're middle of the road, East team. But they put people in the NFL like every single year. So
Yes.
you can't say the same about like a Boston College or like you said earlier when we was off camera, Northwestern. People down in the SEC is just like athletes upon athletes upon athletes.
Yes. I'm confident when I say that a team like Kentucky, if they played every team in the Big Ten, one loss, maybe two. That's just how the SEC is. I'm telling you.
All right, well, tell us a little bit how that rolled into the Sideline Sports account.
So it would have been in September of 2019. Just got on Twitter for the first time, like on a personal page, and I saw Sidelines Miami was one of the first like 4 accounts had said something like, "Hey, we're looking to add to our brand," and I was like, no better way for me to build my love for Texas A&M and then to start a page, and they didn't have one, so I opened it up, and here I am today. I'm looking just shy at 2,000 followers, which has been great. I've interacted with a lot of great people over the years. I will tell you that I've some of the best people that I've ever met and worked with, and just the hospitality. Like I talked to people when I went down for the Texas A&M versus Auburn game, like people who knew I was going down, like giving me like recommendations for lodging, like where to eat, like that kind of stuff. And it just opened up a lot of opportunities for me that I never really thought I'd have. So I don't know. It's just
That's
been really amazing for me.
That's cool, man. Like I didn't get on Twitter until when the pandemic first got really bad.
Okay.
I created a personal account, and then like when I started doing this channel back at the end of April, beginning of May. So I created an account for this channel, but I didn't find the Sideline Sports until right before football season, and I'm like, okay, what is this? And then I saw like sidelines. There's sidelines. Y'all have like a lot of different team pages. Then there's fifth quarter. There's clutch sports, and it's just one after the other. And I've done I've interacted with a lot of Sideline Sports accounts, and these guys tend to be pretty cool, man. So I'm glad you took some time out to come on here and talk to us about some football.
Of course. Yep. Of course. I love it.
So man, a little bit. Listen, I was researching a little bit about the history. So of LSU, Texas A&M. Of course, Texas A&M joined the SEC in 2012. But there was a period, they played on and off from like the early 1900s all the way up.
Right.
But there was a 10-year period from 1986 to 1995 where the coach from LSU was a former Aggie. And RC, I think his name was like Curly Hallman or something like that. And the coach from Texas A&M, RC Slocum, was a Louisiana native. I'm like, it's crazy how that ended up like that.
Right. Yep.
And then Texas A&M came into the SEC, man. Unfortunately, the first 6 years, you guys couldn't beat LSU. But as soon as you hired Jimbo, he wins his first year versus LSU. And then
in an epic game, yes.
Yep, in an epic game. The reason why, so for all of you guys and gals that are watching that don't like the new format of overtime, blame Texas A&M and LSU because that's literally why they changed the format. So, and then in 2019, LSU won, and then last year you guys won. So, other than that, man, I just think because they're bordering states, so they recruit a lot of the same people. So that always makes for a good rivalry when you're right there next to each other and you recruit a lot of the same talent. So
right, and it's nice how players who are looking at both schools are going to be there. It's always more exciting. I love it when people are able to come to Kyle Field, obviously, because that's a big thing that players love because Texas A&M, 104,000 fans. It's pretty crazy.
You recently took a trip there, didn't you?
Yes, I went down for my first A&M game for the Auburn week, so November 6th, and it was incredible. Second biggest crowd ever, for those of you that don't know, over 109,000 people. It was
a lot of people.
I sat in the first tier, and I remember looking up, and literally the concrete was literally shaking. and it was just it was so loud. It was amazing. I will tell you that. I will definitely be back down for sure.
That's crazy that you guys end up being like conference rivals with LSU because you guys had the biggest stadium in the SEC, and then LSU. And you talk about how loud it gets. I went to see Georgia play at LSU in like 2005, I think. And I can tell you right now, Georgia gets loud, but it ain't nothing like LSU. Like, it's ridiculous. LSU at night is absolutely ridiculous. And you talk about the shaking when you was at Texas A&M. LSU does the same thing. So both have electric atmospheres. This should make for a good game. Now, before we get into the preview, there has been some rumblings about LSU trying to go after Jimbo. What you think about that?
I think it's actually almost funny. I mean, there's no chance that Jimbo would up and leave everything that he has going for himself at A&M. He's got his first classes are coming through the door. He's got something to prove now. I mean, I don't think he wants to, and there's no way that he would just up and leave what he's done here. Like, he started something so big. He's passionate about these fans. He's passionate about these players. Like, if he wasn't a coach that was so invested in his guys, I'd be like, maybe. But he is. It says a lot. I feel like he's one of the few coaches that is building character. And when a coach does that, it makes it hard for them to leave because there's always another class in the door. There's always more people for him to teach and to care about. And I feel like Nick Saban is the same way. Dabo Swinney is the same way. And it's no shock that these are some of the best schools. I mean, these guys are invested in their players on and off the field, and it really shows. I mean, some of the top teams in the SEC. I mean,
that's true, man. I thought it was crazy. I just remember seeing it especially in the last couple of weeks. They was talking about how I want to say the LSU guy has ties to Jimbo. I'm like, they'll find a story anywhere, but I guess we'll see when it all shake out after the conference championships. A lot of coaches normally either get fired or hired around that time.
Right. Yep.
So. Right. On to the actual game, man. How are you feeling about going into this game? How are you feeling?
I feel good. I obviously feel like A&M is going to win, but I also know in the back of my head that LSU eats big games like this. They love it. We saw nobody thought they were going to play Alabama close. They played them close the entire game. Yep. I mean, that was just a dogfight to the very end. I watched it. It was right after the A&M Auburn game. Went right back to the hotel and I watched it. But yeah, LSU performs really well in big games, just like this, and they feel like they have something to prove. Obviously, there's beef with these teams, which is great. I mean, I honestly love it. But this LSU this is not a game to brush under the rug. Like, this is a big game. I mean, this is for players, for recruits. Like,
this is a huge game. Do you know if they're playing at LSU or at Texas A&M?
At Texas A&M.
Oh, that's a step up, because if this was at night in LSU, I don't know, man. That'd be some trouble brewing right there. Those fans get crazy, get drunk. Oh my goodness, it's crazy, man. I just want to allude back to what we talked about the SEC. How was the tailgating at Texas A&M when you went?
Okay, the hospitality was insane. I parked probably about a mile from the stadium. I promise you, I was so full by the time that I got there. I had been offered like 20 drinks, like brisket sandwiches. I'm like, I don't know if these people down here are just nice, but I'd like to say that it's just the Texas A&M fans, because the hospitality was insane. And I saw them giving things out to Auburn fans too. Just like, I've read that the fan base there is very generous. They're very kind. They're very like hospitable. But they're like that to their opponents too, which is actually insane and really cool, to be honest.
Well, like I always tell people, every fan base, I think in my personal experience, and I've been to a lot of stadiums, up and down the East Coast and some out west, I think every fan base, majority on game day, they just want to have fun, talk a little trash, and that's it. Now, of course, you can go to some games at any stadium and experience some bad things. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but for the most part, like you experience, where people's like, hey man, come into my tailgate. We having this, we having that, because ultimately people just want to have fun. So that's good. Exactly. That's good that you had a good experience. Now, did you taste any dishes at tailgates that you hadn't tasted before?
probably the best barbecue of my life, like 6 times in a row. So,
that's that
that was pretty
Texas
good.
barbecue everybody's always talking
It,
about.
Here, like people barbecue on the grill for like 30 minutes. Like there, like they got their smokers going and stuff. It's definitely not the same, man.
Yeah, in the South,
Like
you start cooking at like 4 a.m.
all the food was better down there. All the food was better.
Yeah, this is a night game. You guys are favored by 6.5 points. So LSU is actually let's see. Let me see. This is I'm just looking it up right now. LSU's won 8 of the last 10, but that didn't include all of those. Didn't include Jimbo. So you guys are
Yeah,
favored. Guys are favored by 6.5. They're saying the over under is going to be 45. So they're saying it's going to be kind of a low scoring affair. Is that what you think that, or you think you guys may catch a hold if you guys come out firing on all cylinders?
I think that it's going to be pretty low scoring. Our defense has been really solid in the last week. Obviously, we played Prairie View A&M last week.
Yeah.
Not a real big game, but we only let up a field goal while putting up 52, which is pretty big. Our defense kind of just steps up big like in these types of games. I projected I think like over 60 points in the A&M versus Auburn game.
Yeah.
And it was obviously much less than what I thought. A&M's defense like really steps up in these big games, and a lot of times we find games like this where we expect it to be an offensive battle to actually be a defensive one. So I think 45 sounds fair to me.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a defensive battle. Like you said, I think LSU the last couple of weeks have been playing like, they ain't got nothing to lose anyway. They ain't even really got no coach. I mean, they letting Orgeron finish the season, but they don't even know who their next coach is going to be. Jimbo's got a good defense down there. He runs, pretty much a pro-style offense, so he can control the clock when he wants to. So
Exactly.
I did find out. So today, y'all got Jalen Weidemeyer at tight end. He's a Mackey Award Mackey Award finalist for the best tight end in the nation. I'm a little salty because my boy Brock Bowers got cut. Didn't make the final 3 for UGA. even though his stats are better than Jay Weidemeier's, but we're not gonna go down that road.
Yeah, I feel like if I responded, we might just start arguing, but that's okay.
But I think it's going to be a good game. I think 45, yeah, because I could see this game going like a 24-17 or something like that. I think
even less.
I mean, I could. You're right, because I think I don't know, man. It's just like you said, LSU does show up for these big games when you don't think they're supposed to. But it just seems like Texas A&M should be able to run the ball on them. They should be able to control the clock. And I just don't know what to expect out of LSU's quarterback. And it's like, is he going to play good? Is he not going to play good? I mean, that's where it kind of falls off for me. So give me a score prediction on what you think the score will be.
I'm going to go 20-13. A&M wins it.
Okay. I do think A&M wins. I think I'm going to go with what I just said. I think I'm going to go with 24. Actually, I'm going to go with 24-14. I think LSU may get like an interception or a scoop and score or maybe even a special teams because they got athletes all over the field. I just think they haven't been able to put it together, I'm saying, all season. So, but I definitely think Texas A&M. I think it'll start out with a lot of hype for about a quarter and a half, and then Texas A&M come out after halftime will kind of slowly pull away. That's so.
Yes.
Don't be shocked if halftime is like 14-14, something like that.
Yes, that sounds about right. I just know that A&M is going to kick the ball. Seth Small, one of the top kickers in college ball, he's clutch, and I just know that they're so confident with him that, I mean, for a 52-yarder that's 4th and 1, 4th and 2, that they can be confident in kicking the ball.
Yeah.
Which is really good. So I always like to, maybe I'm overthinking it because I kicked, but I feel like they're really confident in him. They're not scared to use him. So I always factor in Seth Small probably kicking the ball at least once or twice.
Yeah.
And what I think the score is going to be. So
I can see that. Do you by chance have any LSU friends?
I have one friend who is a diehard LSU fan, has been for forever. I remember when that game went to 6 overtimes.
Yeah.
Texting him as soon as the game ended, and we haven't really talked a lot since. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if it's because he went away to school, but I do know that it was I more said it as a joke, but definitely a sore subject for sure.
That's what rivalries are. It's like you say
Yeah.
the wrong thing and you might not talk to a close friend for a long time.
I promise you, the games like this make you lose friends. I promise
Listen, man, this is one of the reasons why I started the channel and I called it the Fan Addict, because I want to really get a fan's point of view. You know, you look at ESPN, their analysts and their reporters, and you're talking about the pro athletes, but fans live and die by their teams. And I was like, I want to capture some of that. So much so, man, listen, I talked to my cousin. I didn't interview him. He a huge Clemson fan. Like, so he played college ball at Murray State. So, but he's a huge Clemson fan. So he came on and did an interview about his time at Murray State. But before we, after we finished, we talked about the Georgia Clemson game because I went to Georgia. So he was like, "You think y'all got a chance to beat us?" This is like in the summer. He was like, "We got so much talent." I was like, "I just want you to keep that same energy after September the 4th. I hadn't talked to him on the phone since. Now, I've texted him, and he's texted me, but we ain't talked on the phone since we beat them in the first weekend.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's how it goes, man.
Listen, that's what you got to do, man. Sometimes you just don't want to hear it after a bad loss.
Yeah, yep. I also have another friend that's a diehard Ole Miss fan.
Oh, man.
And after the game 2 weeks ago, I just took it upon myself to just block him. It's only temporary. It's only temporary, but I knew that I was going to get a text. And he actually went on for the game too. Went down for it. So I was like, I just can't do it because he's definitely like eating this up right now. Like he's definitely stoked.
Hey, listen, you can keep him blocked till after the season, and then it's all good until the season starts back up next year.
Yeah, and then next year I'll give him all the beef, man, when we take care of business.
That's right, man. So hopefully you guys take care of business on Saturday. The West and the SEC West it's all wild and wacky. Up until Alabama won last weekend against Arkansas, it was like 5 teams had a chance to win the West. So the West is definitely one of the best, if not the best conference division in college football, maybe along with the Big Ten East. So it's been some good football. I can say that. I'm kind of sad that the season is coming to an end, but I am happy that we get to beat up on Georgia Tech this week and then go try to beat Alabama in the SEC championship. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. So.
Well, I look forward to that for sure. I've no doubt that Georgia is the best team in the SEC, and I also am firm in my belief that they are the best team in college football.
I hope it all proves out on the field, and if so, I am going to be incredibly obnoxious if we win the national championship.
As you should be.
Since they haven't won since I was old enough to know about any football. So,
right.
Well, I appreciate you.
Yeah,
so I'm definitely going to be obnoxious if that happens. But I definitely appreciate you coming on, man. We're going to have to
I appreciate it.
We're going to have to do more of these, man, and get on, maybe even for some basketball or something like that and talk some hoops, even though the dogs aren't too good at hoops. So I just take it on the chin.
Yeah, we'll see. A&M started the season strong with hoops, but hey, we'll see. We'll see.
For everybody out there in YouTube land, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Check out Liam on Twitter. It's at all caps SSN_TAMU. That's Sideline Sports Network for the Texas A&M account. For Liam, Texas A&M, this is Coach I for the Dogs and the SEC. We will see you later.